So moving on to the next topic, Unix environment. Okay. The next topic is Unix environment. So there are three environments we have. The first one is standalone personal environment. Next one is time sharing environment. And the last one is client server environment. So we have three environments in Unix. So first one is personal environment. Okay. So in the personal environment, users are installing the Unix on their personal computer. So this is one way of using the Unix operating system. You have your own system. Okay. You have your own laptop or desktop or any system. Okay. You install the Unix operating system in your personal computer. So that one we call it as personal environment. So you alone will be using that operating system. Okay. It is not a multi-user, it is a single user operating system. Okay, so you alone will be using that operating system. So the next one is time sharing environment. Okay, what is time sharing environment? So in this diagram you can see we have three plus two, five terminals. Correct, you can see here we have five terminals. Okay, and we have two printers. Okay, and a central storage. Okay, and in the middle we have a central computer where we have the operating system, Unix operating system. Now this Unix operating system is shared by five terminals. So five people, okay, five different users are connecting to this central computer operating system. So many users are connected to one or more computer. So in time sharing environment, we have not just one person, we have many people connected to the central computer. Okay. All of the computing must be done by the central computer. So who will do the task? Okay, any task is done by the central computer. Okay. So there are 5 5 users. Okay, they are giving different tasks. Okay, and this central computer alone does that task. Okay, so it must control the shared resources. Okay, now coming to the resources, we have storage, printer here. Okay, now any of these five people can use this central storage or printer. Okay, so this printer can be used by any of the 5 person. Okay, so this is about time sharing computers. Okay, so different people will be using the central computer, and the central computer will allocate the time for individual terminal. Okay, so based on time sharing, it will does the task. Okay. So that is about time sharing. And coming to the next one, client server environment. Okay, the last environment is client server environment. So here, okay, so this is one way of arranging. Okay, so you can see here there is a central server. You have studied about client server architecture. Okay, we have a central server, and in the central server we have all the applications, all the operating system. Okay, applications, operating system, everything is done is there in the server, and we have multiple clients. Okay, and the client job is to request the task. Okay, the client will be requesting the task to the server, and the server will execute the task and give the output to the client. Okay, so there is only one server and multiple clients. So clients are nothing but a terminal. So here in the terminal you can write this shell program. Okay, or you can execute the commands. So that commands will be making use of the kernel which is there in the server to execute the commands, and it will give you the output. And here also we have printers and storage, and these printers and storage are shared by 4 clients. Okay, so this is about 3 environment. Okay, so first one is personal environment. Okay, so only one person will be using the server or operating system. Next one is time sharing. So based on the time, each user will be allotted the server. Okay, each user will be allotted with the operating system based on the time. And in the client server environment, the client will be requesting the task and the server will execute and give the output to the client. Okay, so this is about the three environment. And moving on to the next topic, POSIX and single Unix specification. Okay. So initially when the Unix operating system was developed, okay, the drawback of Unix operating system was its portability. Okay, that means you are installing the operating system in one system. Okay, in one system you are installing the operating system, Unix operating system, and the same operating system when you are installing in another system. Okay, in that case, that our machine will not execute the operating system. It is not possible to install that operating system in another system, and you are not able to get the output in another system because it is not compatible with the another system. Okay, if at all you want to use that operating system in another system, then you have to make certain changes. Okay, so same operating system you cannot install in multiple system without making any changes. Okay, so that was the drawback of initial operating system. Okay, so to overcome that problem, okay, we have developed environment was developed. Okay, that is called as POSIX. To overcome portability issue, a POSIX environment was set. So what is POSIX? Okay, so POSIX will tell what are the rules and regulations you have to follow while developing the Unix operating system. Okay, so POSIX stands for Portable Operating System Interface for Computer Environments. So how you have to develop your Unix operating system so that you can install that operating system in any system, okay, without doing any modification to the code. Okay, without doing any modification, how you have to install that operating system in multiple systems. Okay, so that POSIX environment is developed by IEEE. So IEEE stands for Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineer. Okay, so it refers to operating system based on Unix. Okay, that means POSIX is also called as operating system based on Unix. Okay, so POSIX is nothing but the rules and regulation for developing the Unix operating system. And coming to the versions, okay, so we have POSIX 1.1, 0.2, 0.4. So these are different versions. Okay, and coming to the first version, okay, so first version is meant for system calls. So we have studied in the previous slide system calls. So system calls tells how the user has to interact with the kernel. Okay, it is a set of function for interacting with the kernel. Okay, so how to develop or how to write the system calls functions. Okay, and for 6.2 it deals with developing the shell and utilities. So utilities also we have studied. So utilities will have the command files. Okay, utilities will have different command files. Okay, echo files, printf files, okay, cd files, date files. So all the commands are there in this utility. So POSIX 2 it will tell how to design shell and how to design the command files. And POSIX 4 it will tell about thread management. Okay, so you have already studied in operating system what is a process, what is a thread, correct? So one process can have multiple thread. Okay, so it is execution, path of execution within a process. Okay, so how to manage the thread? So that is given in POSIX 4. Okay, and coming to the next one, So next what they have done is IEEE, okay, they combined POSIX 1 and POSIX 2. Okay, these two standards are combined and they gave a new name, that is single Unix specification. Okay, so POSIX 1 and POSIX 2, they were combined and they were given the name single Unix specification, or we in short we call it as SUS v3. Okay, so POSIX, if you develop any software, okay, on by using any POSIX, okay, so POSIX rules, you can easily port to another POSIX Unix machine with less modification. So that is the advantage of going for POSIX standard. Okay, you can easily port to any Unix system with less modification. Okay. So mainly POSIX is a set of rules for developing the Unix operating system. So moving on to the next topic, okay, general features of Unix commands and Unix structure. Okay. So this is one of the important topic. Okay. So you can see a question, explain general features of Unix commands or Unix structure with example. Okay. So how to write a command? Okay. What is the structure or what is the general form of command? Okay. So this is a general form of writing a Unix command. So first we have a verb, and next with the space you will be writing options, and with the space you will be writing the arguments. Okay. And you can see here we have written options and arguments in bracket, correct? So that means they are not mandatory. It is not mandatory that you have to go for options or you have to go for arguments. Okay, so these two are optional. Okay, you can just go for verb and you can leave options and arguments. Okay, so what is a verb? Okay, so verb is nothing but the name of the command. Okay, you will be writing the name of the command, correct? So that is what we call it as a verb. Okay, for example, ls, okay, echo, okay, date. So these are all verb. Okay, the name of the command. Next we have options and next we have arguments. Okay, so first we'll study about options. Okay, so what is an option? So option will have preceding minus sign. Okay, the option always starts with a minus sign to distinguish it from a file name. Okay, so I'll just have an example here. Here, this is a verb. Ls is a verb, and minus l, it is an option. Okay, here, here. I have given ls. Okay, so ls is a verb. I have not written any option or any arguments. Okay, that is optional. It is not necessary you have to write the options or argument. Okay, so I have written just ls. Okay, just a verb. So this is an example for verb. Next, I am writing ls minus l. So here, ls is a verb and minus l is a option. Okay. So I have not written the argument. Okay, argument part I will discuss later. So here we have option and here we are having verb. Okay. So what is the difference you can see? See here when I am going for option minus l. Okay. So here if I am using just ls, it is listing the file. Okay, but if I am using ls minus l, how it is listing the file? It is listing one file in a line, correct? In one line, it is listing one file with all the information. Okay, all the information. So this is a information like R stands for read write. Okay, and read write execution. Will discuss about this later. Okay, and when it is created. Okay, you can see the time when it is created. Okay, it's a name of the file. So ls minus l, it will also give you the total number of files and it will list all the files one file in a line. Okay, so this is a difference of going for ls and ls minus l command. So ls minus l. Okay. Options can normally combine with only one minus sign. Okay. See here. So I'll just show you one more option. ls minus l minus a. See here. Now you can see how many files. 42 files. Okay, in the previous it was listing only 10 files, correct? Here, in the previous it was listing only 10 files, sorry, 7 files, total 7 files. But now I have given one more option, minus EA. Okay, so minus EA, it will list all the hidden files. Okay, so minus A, it is one more option. Okay, for ls command, which will list all the hidden files. So all together, how many files we have? 42 files. Okay. So this is one more option. And there is one more option, minus t. Okay. So minus t is used for listing the file. Okay. Listing the file based on the modification date. Okay, so it will arrange the file based on the modification date. You can see it is neatly arranged, correct? So this is modified on September 3. I have used this file on September 3. Next on September 2, I have used this file 2.txt. September 1, August 28. So it will arrange all the file based on the date modification. Okay, so this is 3 option. Okay, you can give this example. Okay, so ls minus a minus l minus t. So minus a for showing all the hidden files. Okay. Minus l, it is for listing the file, one file in a line, and minus t for listing the file based on the time of modification. Okay. So instead of typing minus a minus l minus t separately, you can also do it using just one option, minus a l t. You can simply type like this. Okay. You can combine all the options together. Okay, and you can just simply write minus ALT. So this is about options. Okay. So when you are writing in the exam, okay, give the example, give an example. You can give this example ls. Okay. And some command, okay, there are some commands. It uses minus. It uses instead of minus, it uses plus or equal sign exclamatory as option. Okay. So this is one of the commonly used option sign, that is minus. Okay. Other than that, there are other option signs like plus, equal to, exclamatory. Okay. So moving on to the next one. Okay. I said we have verb and we saw what is option. And coming to the next one, what is arguments? Any doubts? Are you able to follow?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So moving on to the next one, file name arguments. Okay. So file name arguments, many Unix commands uses file name as argument. Okay. It uses file name as argument so that the command can take the input from the file. Okay. See here. So we have ls minus lat chapter 01. Okay, I will show you. So if I'm writing like this, minus 1.txt. Okay. So if I'm writing like this, so ls is a verb minus LAT, it is the option, and next what you are writing, it is called as argument. Okay. So you can see here, so it will just show one file. Okay. So there is one more. Okay, one more example. CP. Okay. So CP, it is used for copying. Okay. So copying, you can, so last whatever you write, okay, here, that is called as destination. Okay. From the destination, okay, and whatever you write previous to that, it is called as a source. Okay, you can have multiple source, okay, and one target, or we call it as a destination. So CP is used for copying the content of multiple file to the destination or the target. So what this line will tell? So this line will tell, I am copying the content of, okay, yeah, from the source to the destination. I'll just show you an example. CP. Okay. See here, I have created two files. Okay. One file 2.txt, it is empty, correct? I have one more file that is 1.txt. Okay. 1.txt. So now, I'll be writing CP 1.txt, okay, and 2.txt. So now what will happen? We are copying the content of 1.txt to 2.txt. Now you can see the content of 2.txt, what it is there. Whatever the content of 1.txt, India, Canada and Australia, it is copied to 2.txt. Okay. So here we are giving how many arguments? Here in this example, we are giving two arguments. There is no option. Okay. And there is no option. So CP is a command, or we call it as a verb. And 1.txt and 2.txt, they are the arguments. There are two arguments. So in the previous example, I have written ls minus lat 1.txt. So in this example, I have given verb, that is command, option, and last one is argument. Okay, so this is example with argument and option, and this is one more example by just showing the arguments. Okay, and moving on to the next one. Okay, this is one more example. Okay, RM. Okay, what RM is used for what? It is used for removing the files. Okay, if I want to delete any file, okay, I'll be using RM command. So RM command will delete file 1, file 2 and file 3. So these three files will be deleted, and this file 1 and file 2, file 3, they are the arguments, and RM is the verb. Okay, so next thing is command line. Okay, so if you write a command with option and argument, okay, in the first example, I have written command with option and argument. So that is called as what? It is a complete command line. Okay, it is called as command line. So if I am writing any command with option and argument, it is called as a command line, and it is considered as complete after you press the enter key. So after you press the enter key and enter key, this command will be considered as complete. Okay, and then that command will be fed to the shell as the input for interpretation and execution. So you are giving the command to the shell, and shell will take the help of kernel, and it will interpret and execute the command, and it will give you the output. Okay. So moving on to the next one, exceptions. Okay. So what are exceptions? Okay. So some commands, some commands in Unix like pwd. So pwd, it is used for getting the current directory Okay. So PWD it is used for getting the current directly. It will not take any options or argument. Okay. So there are some commands. Okay. So it will not take any options or any argument. I will just execute that command PWD. So what is it is giving? It is giving. I will clear the screen. So I am typing PWD. Okay. What it is giving? It is giving the current directory. Okay. Which is the current directory? Okay. I am residing. Okay. Which current directory we are working? So that is root. Okay. First line it stands for root. Inside the root. Okay. You have used root folder, right? Root directory. When you are using Ubuntu in the lab, we are going for root directory, and inside that root we are going for home, and inside that user, okay, we are in the user directory, and there you are executing this pwd command. So that is why it is showing your current directory. Okay, so it is showing the current directory. So what you have to understand here is, in the pwd command we are not writing any option, or we are not writing any arguments. Okay, so this is an exception. Okay, so some commands will not take any arguments or options. Okay, whereas we come across this ls command, so it can run without arguments. So ls commands, it will take options and argument, but it can also run without any arguments. Correct, right? We are just typing ls command. We are not giving any options, or we are not giving any arguments. Still, this ls command will give you the output. Okay, and some commands compulsory takes option. There are some commands like C cut. Okay, for this cut command, compulsory we have to give the options. Compulsory we have to give the options. For example, I'll just show you the cut command. Okay, so this cut command, it is used for extracting the specified bytes. Okay, so if I want to extract the specified bytes, okay, we have to use a cut command. I'll just explain you what is cut. See here, this is my file. Okay, 1.txt. I have 3 words. Okay, I'll be running. I will run this cut command on this file. Okay, so I'm writing cut. Okay, I'm writing the option -b, and I want 3 bytes from this file. Okay, I want 3 bytes, 1, 2, 3, and the file name is 1.txt. Okay, see here what it is giving. From each line, it is giving me how many bytes? 3 bytes. From India, it is giving IND. From Canada, it is giving CAN. From Australia, it is giving AUS. Okay. So each character will take 1 byte. Correct. We already know one character will take 1 byte. Okay. So it will give you 3 bytes. Similarly, if I run cut -b 1, 2, 1.txt. How many bytes it will give? From each line it will be giving how many bytes? 1, 2. 2 bytes it is giving. Okay. So this command will compulsory will take the option. If I give simple, simply if I write this, what it will give? You must specify the list of bytes, character or fields. Okay. So it is not giving you the output. Okay. So for cut, you have to compulsory, you have to specify the option. Okay. So some commands compulsory will take the option, for example, cut. Okay. And some commands like grep and shed can take expression as an argument. So there are some commands like grep and shed. Okay. So I'll just show you these commands. Okay. So this is one command. It is used for searching the text pattern in a file. If you want to find or search any text pattern, you are going for a grep command. Okay, so I just want to find, okay, all the words which starts with in. Okay, from this file, I'm running on this file. I want to find all the words which will start with IN. Okay, so I will type grep. Okay, one second. So first I will show you one more command, that is cat. Okay, so cat is used for displaying the content of the file. Okay, so cat is a command. Okay, make a note of these commands. Cat is a command which is used for displaying the content of one.txt. What is the content? It has three words. If I write cat1.txt, it will display the content of the file. Now what I do is I type cat1.txt. Okay, whatever the output I get, I give the input. I give that output as an input for another command. So this is a piping. Okay, I have already explained this symbol. It stands for piping. Okay, so cat.1.txt, it is fed as an input for the next command. So grep dot. So what it will do? So cat1.txt has these three files. Okay, it will get those three files. I mean three words. Okay, that three words is given as an input for the another command. So another command, what it will do? It searches for the text pattern. Okay, it will searches for the word which will start with in. Okay, it will start with in. So after that, I can have anything. Okay, any word which has in. Okay, it will be listed. Okay, is it clear? Here, one more will be. So any word which has NA will be listed. Okay, any word which has got NA will be listed. Okay, so this is about grep command. Okay, so in this grep command, it will take what? It will take regular expression. This is a regular expression. We are telling we should have NA. Okay, after that I can have one or more characters. Any character, one or more characters I can have. So, but you should have NA. After that, you can have 0 or more characters. Okay. So, one more it is shed. So, it is used for a text processing. Okay. I'll give an example. So, this is an example. So, I want to replace, okay, in that text, wherever in the file, wherever I have India, I want to replace it with INDA, capital letter. Okay. And from which file I want to replace. So S stands for substitute. So substitute wherever I have India, that small letter India should be substituted with capital letter India in the file one.txt. Okay, and that output give it to another file. Okay, so that output, okay, whatever the output you give, that output should be given to the next file, that is 2.txt. Okay, run that command. Now just to go to the first file, that is one.txt. I had a small letter India, correct. When you go for the next 2.txt, you can see here the small letter India is now changed to capital letter India, correct. So that is why the shed command is used for std command. It is used for text processing. Okay, if I want to make any changes for the text, I can go for, there are many options. Okay, this is one example I'm showing using std command. Okay, the std command in the file one.txt, wherever you have India small letter, replace it with capital letter India. Okay, so and give that output to the another file 2.txt. You can see the symbol. Okay, greater the symbol, what it is telling, whatever, okay, the changes that is made, okay, the output you are getting from this first command, okay, that output you move to or you give 5, that is 2.txt. Okay, so it is giving the output of this entire, okay, this entire output, whatever you are getting, okay, that output will be shown in another file 2.txt. Okay. So this is all about the command structure. Okay. So today we discussed the features of command and the command structure and Unix environment. Okay. Coming to command structure, we have how to write the options, how to write the arguments, and what are the exceptions we have in Unix. Okay. Any doubt? Any doubt in the topic that we have discussed today? Is it clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Next, we'll see in the next session. Okay. Thank you.